So, I'm an abuse survivor. I'm a mom of two kids, and I live with diagnosed PTSD and depression. And for the last 8 years, I have been on a very intense healing journey to try to unpack a lot of this trauma I've gone through, but also just to learn how to function. And in that process, I didn't realize that I was also going to learn how to love myself, how to respect myself, how to advocate for myself, how to set boundaries, what real self care is that actually supports my well being rather than me just copying Instagram influencers and a whole bunch of other things that have been really invaluable and powerful in my life. And I have started to share that process with my clients. And for the last 2 years, I have been supporting clients by creating classes and sharing my knowledge and coaching them. But today, I'm actually going to be doing something different. I am going to be giving you free access to one of my most comprehensive classes, and it's called The Introduction to the Healing Journey. And this class is going to give you all the basics, the frameworks, the knowledge, the tools, the know-how that I've learned over the last 8 years. It's seriously like a summary of everything that I've learned in 8 years so that you can start your own healing journey, because you deserve to live a life where your health and your happiness and your well-being are not a constant afterthought, and where you actually are happy to be here on this planet. You're happy to be alive. And I'm saying that in the realest way possible because I know how much over time we just tend to put ourselves last because we don't know how to make ourselves a priority. And that can make us depressed and not want to be here and not want to live life. So I'm pumped because you're going to get the first 40 minutes right here on YouTube or on my podcast if you're listening to this. And if you want access to the full class, which is almost 4 hours, I know it sounds like a lot, but this class, it's jam-packed with really good stuff. You can get access to the full thing by just visiting the link in my description and signing up for it. I'm going to be making the whole class available for free for the whole month of December. And so if that's interesting to you, if that's exciting to you, if you want that, make sure you sign up before December's over. I would love for you to check out the full thing. But yeah, take advantage of it. Enjoy the class. I'm excited for you to dive into it. This class is the first of 12 in my full program, the No Longer Last Journey. But even the people who join my full program and they just watch this first class, they're like, oh my gosh, this class, just the first class alone has already helped me so much. So dive in. Do not miss out on this. I'm really excited to hear your feedback and your thoughts on it. And yeah, just go and start this journey for yourself. You know, I started 8 years ago, and I just have to say that I wish that I could have not learned some of this stuff the hard and long way, but I'm excited and grateful to be able to be sharing what I know with other people so that they don't have to wait 8 years to feel the way that I feel now. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video in advance. Thank you. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye. Hello and welcome to your first class in the No Longer Last Journey. Welcome to returning members. Welcome to new members. This is so exciting, especially if you've been here since the beginning. This year's classes are a complete revamp to what we did in 2021. I have to remember that it's 2022. And it just includes a new structure that I've been honing and cultivating over the last 16 months of hosting No Longer Last. I can't believe it's been that long. And I'm just so excited. This feels unreal. Like, I'm so excited to be finally sharing this class with you all. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time for yourself and for me, because it is a blessing and a privilege for me to have people who want to hear what I have to say. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of that. I really am just so grateful to do what I do. And I'm excited to share this information with you and my personal stories, because I think it's going to help you in navigating whatever you're dealing with in your life and helping you reach your desire of living a life where you're not last anymore, where your needs and your desires are prioritized. So without further ado, let's dive into the very first class of the No Longer Last Journey, the Introduction to the Healing Journey. You already know my name, but just in case, I'm Mia Hemstad. I am the host, the creator, and founder of the No Longer Last Journey. This is something that I created back in August of 2020, and it has evolved so much since then, alongside hosting a monthly coaching call and support group meeting with other women, and which has helped me grow so much as a coach and as a leader of this space. So I'm just so excited to be bringing you this new and improved version of No Longer Last. And I just want to welcome you and let you know that you are starting a journey that is going to change your life. And I don't say that lightly. I really don't like actually when people use that so flippantly, because changing your life is a really big statement. But after 16 months of working with clients, both one-on-one and in a group setting, and getting feedback from people, I know that what I teach here can change your life. And it's going to also change the lives of the people around you, which is something that I love about going on a No Longer Last journey, on a self-care journey, a self-love journey, that it expands beyond you. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I've seen it in my life. And now I've seen my clients start to witness that in their lives. And it's such a gratifying experience. So this program is a culmination of my 8 years of experience of being on my own healing journey. If you don't know all the details, I have an 8 out of 10 ACEs score, which is basically a trauma score. I've been through um, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, and I also have diagnosed PTSD and depression. And I've just been on an active healing journey for 8 years. And I'm a mom of two kids, ages 5 and 3. So it became very serious to me to work on my healing once I started to witness how generational cycles and patterns of abuse can be transferred, can be passed down, and I did not want that to happen. So I have my why. I know why I started my journey, but I just want you to know kind of who I am and like what perspective I'm teaching you from, because there's a lot of people out there that are teaching about self-care, and I just want you to know that I'm teaching from the perspective as somebody who does live with anxiety, who does live with depression and PTSD, who does struggle with sleep, who has kids to take care of, and who has a history of trauma in my childhood. So if I can do it, you can absolutely do it, and I will be teaching from that perspective. And if that relates and resonates, I'm so glad that you're here. And I truly feel honored that you've decided to invest in my program. I know it's no small thing to invest in yourself. I know that's a big deal. So I want to just thank you and also commend you for doing that for yourself. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of your healing journey, because I truly feel privileged to be a part of it. So it goes without saying, but to start us off, I want to remind you that you deserve to be loved and cared for every single day. And as simple as that statement is, I remember when I started to repeat that to myself, it moved me to tears, because I don't think anyone ever told me that in my life, that I deserve to be loved and cared for every day. And if you haven't been told that, I want to tell you that right now. You deserve to be loved and cared for every single day. Your primary existence is not just to love and care for other people. You are also allowed to be on that list of people who are loved and cared for. Whether you're burdened by trauma, whether you're dealing with mental health challenges, whether you're living with chronic illness or going through the struggles of motherhood, or all of the above, I feel you, I'm with you, and I'm here to help you learn how to heal and love and care for yourself through the ups and the downs of life. And the reason why I list this out is because I think a lot of times, if you've been through trauma, or if you just weren't taken care of as a child, um, we can start to develop the belief from childhood that we don't deserve love or care, and that our need to be loved and cared for makes us a burden. And I just want to lay that out in black and white right now, that past trauma or your mental health challenges or your chronic illness or your chronic pain or whatever it is do not disqualify you from your inherent right to be loved and cared for every single day. Okay? And so I'm really glad that you're here, because it's you are no longer being helpless. You are taking a stand and going, no, I want this for myself, and I'm going to learn how to give it to myself. And that is a really massive thing that you're doing. So in No Longer Last, well, in today's class, sorry, we have 4 lessons that we're going to be covering. The first lesson is going to be about the main intention of No Longer Last. And this intention is really important because it's going to help orient you throughout the rest of the program.
Lesson 2 is going to be about the 3 phases of the no longer last journey. This one's really brief lesson. It's just going to be covering the 3 phases that I have mapped out for your journey here and the classes that are involved in each of those phases to help you reach the goal, reach the main intention. Lesson 3 is going to be the longest lesson, and it's broken down into 4 parts. And this lesson is going to be about the 4 components of the healing journey, which will guide you and ground you throughout the entire No Longer Last program. One second, I need a sip of water. I am getting over a cold, so I might need more sips of water than normal. And then lesson 4, we're going to go through an example of the healing journey in real life. So I'll be sharing an example from my life so that you can see the 4 components of the healing journey in action. So let's set some expectations though, because sometimes I feel like when people join a program, they want to do everything perfectly and they don't want to miss anything. And sometimes I think that having that extremely high expectation can set you up for failure and make you feel like you can't do the program because you can't do every single thing perfectly all at once. So we're going to lay some foundation here. All the other classes in the No Longer Last Journey program build on what you're going to learn today. So if over the next 9 months, all you do is the only class, if you only watch this class, if you only listen to this class, this is the one to prioritize. I mean, all of them are really important and helpful and have unique and different information, but this one is the foundation. This class actually used to be called the Foundations of Self-Care Workshop, and I've revamped it to be the Introduction to the Healing Journey, and you'll understand why later. But truly, all the classes are going to reference this class. So if you don't have a ton of time, I would recommend prioritizing this class, and that's why I have it available via audio so that you can listen to it when you're folding laundry or doing the dishes or prepping dinner or commuting to work. I love listening to podcasts and classes while I'm getting ready in the morning, while I'm in the shower, and while I'm getting ready. It's like a solid 45 minutes of just learning and inspiring myself and filling myself up. So those are some ideas there for how you can make time for it. But I also just want you to know, like, this is the longest class. All the other classes are going to be significantly shorter than this one. This is the foundation for the rest of the program. All the other classes will reference this one. So if it feels long, it's because it is. And all the other classes, I promise you, are going to be so much shorter. But this one really gives you everything that you need to know to set you up for success on this journey. And it's not about doing all of it and all the things. It's doing what you can. So I just want you to know that it's okay to take your time with this class. It's okay to re-listen to certain things. It's okay to, I'm going to be releasing new classes every month. And if you are still working through this one, that's fine. You're not behind. There's no such thing as being behind in this program, okay? And I'm going to talk more about the lifetime access that you have later on. Actually, I think I deleted that. But just know that you're not on a time crunch here. If you join the program, you have lifetime access to the program. And I love that now. This used to be a subscription model, but now it's you pay for it once and you own it. And it's because I want you to have access to this for as long as you need it. So take your time with the class, make sure you're understanding it. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out in the private community that's on Mighty Network. I am happy to answer any questions or clarify anything in the class. Okay, so lesson 1, the main intention of No Longer Last. And I love using the word intention instead of goal, but if goal works for you, just replace it. But it is the intention that's going to kind of ground us, because sometimes getting in the healing journey can be very messy and there's a lot of ups and downs in the healing journey. You're going to be going through a lot. So having like a goal or an intention, right out in the open can help orient you when things are feeling rough, and you can remember why you're doing this and why you're going on this journey. So the main intention of No Longer Last is to guide you on a healing journey where you will learn how to love and care for yourself without guilt or shame, so that you can live life as the healthiest and most authentic version of you. This is really important because for a long time, when No Longer Last started, it was about nourish yourself every single day. It was about women making themselves a priority by doing one thing every day to nourish themselves. And I found that was missing like some serious meat some substance, because if self-care isn't oriented in a larger goal, it can seem like just this extra thing to do, that it's not that important. It's just extra. If I do it, it's nice to have, but if I don't do it, it's not a big deal. But I want to show you and prove to you how self-care is just a part of the healing journey. It's a part of you healing yourself, and so that you can live as the healthiest and most authentic version of you, and how freeing and liberating that is, and how much that allows us to enjoy our lives to the fullest. So I'm going to get into that more, but I just want to highlight this, that the main intention of this program is to guide you on a healing journey so that you can take care of yourself and love yourself and feel really good about it, right? Not feel guilty, not feel ashamed, so that you can live your life as the healthiest and most authentic version of you. So, what does healing have to do with this? So, I wanted to highlight this because for a long time I just talked about self care, and now I'm talking a lot about healing. And it's because as I've coached people over the last 16 months and have gone on my own healing journey, I've seen how important it is to orient self care as a part of a healing journey. Because the obstacles to self care, a lot of us think it's like time management and, learning how to implement a new habit. And those things are helpful. They're helpful. But there's actually a much bigger, uglier monster underneath it. And a lot of it has to do with trauma or societal conditioning that is harmful. And that's what healing is about. It's recognizing or figuring out what those traumas were and what that programming or societal conditioning is that makes it so hard to love and care for ourselves. And it's healing that. So I like to remind my clients that you're not struggling to love and care for yourself simply because you need better tips or you need better strategies. There are deeper reasons why it's so hard to make yourself a priority. And I truly believe that when we heal these deeper reasons, that's when we actually start to make the progress that we want to see. So you need to heal the part of you that had to suppress her wants and needs because there was no room for them in your home growing up. Maybe you grew up in a family where you just weren't even allowed to ask for something that you wanted or needed because maybe it made your parents upset that you even had a want or need and you were made to feel like a burden. This journey is about healing the part of you that had to pretend that everything was fine when it was not, because you didn't have the power to change things as a kid. So you have to really develop this thick skin of just pretending like that really dysfunctional things were totally fine. And we need to heal that part of you because maybe things in your life right now are not fine, but you're going around, you're spending so much energy trying to pretend that it's fine when it's not. So in order to practice self-care, again, you might think, oh, I just need to get better at time management, but maybe you actually are in a really like dysfunctional situation. And until you're able to heal the part of you that practiced pretending everything was fine, you're not going to be able to make the changes that you need to actually, live a life where you're able to love and care for yourself on a regular basis. You also need to heal the part of you that maybe had to downplay your gifts and your talents because finding an outlet to cultivate and express yourself wasn't approved of by the people around you. I know for me, one of the things I'm really working on healing right now is allowing myself to have fun. I was what psychologists call a parentified child. I had to become a parent at like 11 years old. I would say even depending on how you look at it, 8 years old, because I had to start doing adult chores at 8 years old. And that made me have no room for fun or play. So really been working on healing that part of myself by allowing myself to go to dance class. And I'm going to start painting this year and just things like that. But, realizing that I wasn't avoiding the self-care practice of dancing and painting because I didn't have time. I avoid it because it doesn't feel safe. I avoid it because my whole life I've never been allowed to express gifts and talents or cultivate those things or express myself creatively. So that's what I mean by that trauma getting in the way of you practicing that self-care. You also need to heal the part of you that potentially felt pressured to fit in because you were afraid that taking up space as the real you would cost you your friends and family's approval. Maybe you thought very differently from the community that you were in, whether it be friends at school or your family, and you started to modify or shrink yourself or shut up completely and not actually speak your mind because you were worried that you would be ostracized. And so, that's really important as well because a lot of us are so used to shrinking ourselves and suppressing what we really think and what we really value that that's why it's so hard for us to know what we need when it comes to self-care. I've talked to a lot of women who, when I ask like, well, what do you feel like you need right now to like feel good? And they say, I don't know. And if that's you, I want you to not feel bad about that because that's not your fault. It's not because you're stupid or you don't know. It's probably because there's something rooted in your childhood where you had to constantly suppress what you really thought or really valued or really wanted or really believed in order to fit in order to stay safe. And I'm going to talk more about that, more about coping in those toxic or dysfunctional environments and what that does to our ability to take care of ourselves. But I hope I'm starting to make sense about why this isn't just like learn tips to practice self care. Like, I'm trying to help you go on a healing journey because it's really about tapping into those things that are causing you to be disconnected from what you really want and need. So, let's break down the other part of the definition or the other part of the main intention of no longer last, where I talked about being the healthiest and most authentic version of you. I really want to define this because I think since this is like our guiding post, this is our lighthouse for the entire program that's going to help orient you. It's really important to me that we're on the same page about what I mean by healthiest version of you, most authentic version of you. So, the healthiest and most authentic version of you looks like a version of you who is no longer weighed down by trauma, patriarchal or racist programming, misplaced guilt or shame, or society's expectations of what you should do. It's all about being more mindful and intentional about your beliefs, emotions, and actions to make sure that you're actually living the life that you want to live rather than the life that you feel like you should live. So, we all have our own idea of what healthiest means, but just to make sure we're on the same page, I don't mean that you have no health problems, okay? I've been on this healing journey for 8 years. I still suffer from chronic pain, chronic fatigue. I'm gotten a lot better, but I still do have nightmares. I have anxiety. Things have gotten a lot better, but I really don't like when people kind of make it sound as if their program is going to like solve all your problems. So I don't mean that you're going to have no health problems. No Longer Last is not going to solve all of your problems. No program or pill can do that. What No Longer Last can do is it can help you strengthen yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically so that you can approach life's problems and challenges from a place of strength rather than depletion. Okay, so that's what I mean by healthiest. You're strengthened mentally, emotionally, and physically so that you can handle your chronic pain. So that when I say handle, I don't mean muscle through it. You know what to do to take care of yourself when you're hurting. Like, I know what to do now when I wake up from a night of nightmares. I know what to do now when my anxiety feels greater than normal. I know what to do now when I'm having a migraine. I know what to do now when I feel triggered. That's what I want to help you with because that's how we make progress. We don't pretend the problem doesn't exist. We don't pretend that it's going to magically disappear, but we work on learning how to love and care for ourselves through life's challenges so that we can show up for our lives stronger and better able to handle it. So hopefully we're on the same page about what healthiest version of you means. Now let's talk about authentic version of you. What do I mean by the most authentic version of you? So if you look it up in the dictionary, authentic is synonymous with true, real, and actual. So many of us are living in alignment with belief systems and behavior patterns that we didn't even consciously choose because we inherited them from our school, our religion, our parents, society, etc. So each month in No Longer Last, you're going to be encouraged to question why you do what you do and why you believe what you believe. Now, don't be scared about this. I know it can be scary to question what you believe because it feels like you're questioning authority and it can feel unsafe. But just know that just because you're questioning something or becoming aware of what you believe or why you do or what you do, it doesn't mean that you're going to change it or give it up. I just think it's important as a part of the healing process to increase that awareness. So, No Longer Last is an opportunity to go on a journey of discovering what beliefs and behaviors are actually authentic to you. And we can't figure out what's authentic to you, what feels true, real, or actual for you unless you're aware. So that's why every month we're going to have a portion where we're kind of identifying and questioning, okay, why do I believe what do I believe? Why do I believe what I believe? What is it that I even believe? And why do I do what I do? Because it's important to go, oh, I just inherited that belief. I didn't choose it. It's not true for me, right? There's a lot of things that I was raised to believe were true that are no longer true for me once I took a step back and went, wait, I'm an adult now, I'm not a kid. and I get to decide what I believe, and I get to decide what influences my behavior on a day-to-day basis. So, to give you an example, in this picture, I have not showered. My baby there, my daughter, is probably 6 months old. My son is a little over 2 years old, and I'm literally wearing my pajama oversized t-shirt, free shirt I got from the Ellen show, and I am exhausted. And this was one of the lowest points. I was going through postpartum depression and anxiety and just was really struggling. So I chose this picture because it's reflective of the example I want to give you. So I was taught to believe that a good wife and mom puts her family before her wants and needs always. I was taught in my religion that real love is to die to self. Okay, in quotes, die to self. That was something I heard a lot growing up. And living like this made me feel resentful, angry, and sick. Sick as in actually physically ill. I was regularly getting sick, regularly burned out, and I was so upset because I just felt like I was trying so hard to be a good wife and a good mom, and I just was becoming more sick and more miserable and struggling to just be the mom and wife I wanted to be. So this really just made it impossible for me to enjoy my life or to be emotionally or physically present for my family. To this day, there's entire seasons of motherhood that I just completely don't even really remember because they were so painful and so difficult, and I was so sick all the time. And when I say sick, like constant stomach aches, constant nausea, debilitating migraines that caused me to have such bad light sensitivity that the slightest bit of light, even when my eyes were closed, would cause me excruciating pain. And the migraines would be so bad that it would even cause me to vomit regularly. So that's what I mean by being sick. And I hope this shows you how much when we live out of alignment with what we really want to believe, or if we're not living our authentically to ourselves, we're not living in accordance with what is true for us, it will make you sick. And it's your body talking to you, trying to get you to see that this is not working. So this belief system that, a good wife and a good mom puts herself last and that she dies to self, this belief system was not authentic to me. It was making me sick. It didn't meet my needs. It didn't help me be the healthiest version of myself. And as a result, my health and well-being suffered, which impacted my kids, my marriage, and my career negatively. So, how do you know something is authentic to you? If something is authentic to you, it should result in you being the healthiest version of yourself, the version of you that has chosen a way of life that actually makes you feel happy, healthy, and more fulfilled. A lot of us think that, like, if we're not happy or not healthy or not feeling fulfilled, that we need to try harder. We don't necessarily look at maybe the beliefs that are running the show, the beliefs that aren't authentic to us, the beliefs that are dictating our behavior that doesn't even feel real or true for us. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to help you take a step back and see, that maybe we need to approach this from what do I believe rather than what am I doing wrong. So many of us are so quick to blame ourselves and think, well, I'm unhappy because I'm not trying hard enough. I'm unhappy because I need to lose weight. I'm unhappy because I need to organize my pantry. I'm unhappy because I need to teach my son how to read, like whatever. But maybe you're not doing anything wrong. Maybe there's some beliefs running this show that are making you, make decisions that are not healthy for you. So something to think about. So, whenever you feel lost in the weeds or stuck in a struggle throughout this journey, I want you to come back to the primary intention of No Longer Last, which is that you are learning how to love and care for yourself so that you can live as the healthiest and most authentic version of you. So, that's a way to frame things. Like, whenever you're about to make a choice or a decision, I want you to ask yourself, is this going to help me be the healthiest and most authentic version of me? Is this going to help me be healthy? Is this going to help me be happy? Does this feel authentic to me? Does this feel true or real for me? Is this actually what I think or believe or value? So I love those two words, healthy and authentic, because it's how I kind of guide myself when I'm stuck between a crossroads or a fork in the road and I'm not sure what to do. I try to come back to, what do I need to be healthy? What do I need to be happy? What do I need to live in alignment to who I really am, what I truly believe? So come back to that primary intention whenever you feel like you're drowning in the weeds of the struggle that life sometimes can be. So now I want to set some expectations around becoming this version of you, because sometimes in the language, well, in the world of personal development, the language around becoming or a version of you can feel idealistic and it can reek of perfectionism. And at the moment, I wish I had better words, but I don't. That's why I say becoming this version of you. Um, I just want to note that you're not trying to become a perfect version of you. You're trying to honor who you really are and what you really need so that you can be happy, healthy, and live authentically. So I just want to break this down here because sometimes we can bring our perfectionism even into places that are supposed to not be about perfectionism. And I want to remind you that you don't need to be perfect ever. And this healing journey is not about you becoming a fully healed or perfect version of you. That whole fully healed stuff, which I used to subscribe to, I used to feel that I needed to postpone my life and big decisions until I was fully healed because I didn't want to make any more poor decisions from a place of a trauma response or a place of not valuing myself, you know. But I want you to know that there's no such thing as being fully healed. I am young and I've only been on this journey for 8 years, but I am pretty certain that there's no such thing as being fully healed. There is no arrival point or destination on this healing journey. Healing yourself is truly lifelong work. And hopefully, this gives you some relief and makes you feel a little bit calmer because it means that there's no rush and that there's no perfect ideal that you're striving to achieve. You're simply practicing loving and caring for yourself right where you're at right now, day to day. That's what the healing journey is. It's not about getting to a point where you're completely healed because that is just not a reality. That's not real. All right, so now we're going to get into lesson 2. And this is the 3 phases of the no longer last journey, but we're going to take a quick break before we dive into that. All right, welcome back to lesson 2. We're going to be talking about the 3 phases of the no longer last journey. And this is to just briefly help you to see where you're headed on this journey and why. Like, what's the thought process behind the 3 phases and what are the classes included? So, the no longer last journey has 3 phases that I've developed over the last 16 months of figuring out what's needed to help you actually learn to love and care for yourself and what's involved in that and how to take care of yourself holistically. So, phase 1 is building the foundation. This is where you are doing a lot of the preparation. You're doing a lot of mental and emotional prep work. You're learning about all the different pieces that go into a healing journey, and that's what you're learning today in today's class. Phase 2 is fulfill your needs, and phase 3 is honor your desires. And in each of these phases, there are classes to help you do these things. So, let's get into that. So in phase 1, I have it mapped out currently to span over 2 months to build the foundation. But obviously, if you need to take a lot more time to do that, that's perfectly okay. I want to keep reminding you that everything that I'm teaching you over these next 9 months is a culmination of my 8 years of experience. It's taken me 8 years to learn all this stuff, put it into practice, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't, figure out what was missing, and bring that in. So if it takes you a really long time, that is normal. I'm teaching you over these 9 months, but it can really be on your own timeline. So what's included in building the foundation of the healing journey? The first class, you're taking it right now, is the Introduction to the Healing Journey. Again, it's the most important class that all the other classes will reference back to. Class 2 is the No Longer Last Approach to Life, and I will be releasing this class in the last week of January. So if you're starting to watch this class in the beginning of January, the No Longer Last Approach to Life will be a shorter class, and it's where I share with you the 10 kind of principles of no longer last living that I've developed over the last 8 years that have helped me to approach my life in a way that is really self-honoring and respectful of myself as somebody who needs to be very compassionate with myself because I've been through a lot and I'm still going through a lot. And I love it because they're mindset shifts really that kind of help me to retrain my brain, retrain my trauma brain from a lot of self-blame and a lot of self-loathing that I used to struggle with. And it helps me to replace those beliefs with new ones that help me to approach my life from a more compassionate and enjoyable place. So I'm super pumped because that's a brand new class that if you're a previous client or a previous member of No Longer Last, you've never had that class before. So I'm excited to share that with you. Then this is also a new class that's in the Build a Foundation kind of journey, and that is Better with Boundaries. This came up a lot over the last 16 months where people would try to practice self care and they're struggling with setting the boundaries, right? We need boundaries in order to free up time, space, and energy to practice self care. I call boundaries the prerequisite to self care. Like self care, sustainable self care is not possible without boundaries. So we're going to have a whole class on that in February that helps you to really get into the nitty gritty. And I'll be sharing a lot of my personal experiences and even sharing exactly what I said when I needed to set a boundary with certain family members, certain friends, even my job. I think we can all use more practice with setting boundaries. So I'm pumped about that class. The fourth class is behavior change strategies that actually work. This one's going to be a really quick one. I'm going to just be sharing probably 5 to 10 behavior change strategies that I've learned over years and years and years of reading different habit books written by coaches, written by psychologists. And I'm just really condensing that information down to like the top 5, top 10 tips that I think actually work so that you don't have to spend years reading all this, the habit change books that I've read. And then number 5 is Nourish Over Numb. And this one's a breathwork and guided meditation to help you to stay connected to yourself in moments of being triggered. And we're going to talk more about that later. But I know this is a lot. It's 5 different things, and I have it spanned over 2 months. But that's really just so that I'm making sure that the classes are available to you. Please don't feel pressured to get this all watched through in 2 months. And again, today's class, Introduction to the Healing Journey, it's the longest class, and that's why I'm leaving, 3 weeks for you to watch this class or listen to it before I release the next one. But all the other ones are going to be much shorter because honestly, the emphasis is not just on you learning, but I also want you to have time to reflect and get to know yourself with the reflection guys. And I want you to have time to show up to the coaching calls and, ask questions and hear other people's journeys, because that's really, I think, where we can heal is when we heal as a collective. So don't stress too much. And I'm just so excited. So all these classes are designed to help you build the foundation. The stuff that you're going to learn over these classes is going to just really prepare you for the next phase, which is fulfill your needs. So fulfill your needs is spread out over 5 months. It's the longest phase in the program. And for 4 months of the 5, you're going to be working on basic self-care. And I'm going to talk more about the 4B self-care framework, but one of the 4B self-care framework is what I base the rest of the fulfill your needs and honor your desires monthly intentions on. So with basic self-care, it's the most important. This is why I start you on this, because I think self-care can feel really like confusing and loud on social media. There's a lot of what we should do out there, but I want you to start with basic self-care because in my experience, it's where a lot of us we overlook it because it's boring, but it's really the foundation. So within the 4 months, you're going to spend 1 whole month working on sleep, a whole month working on eating well and hydrating, a whole month on intentional movement, and an entire month on hygiene. And in these months, these are going to be highly individual. You're going to be looking at these different areas of basic self-care, and you're going to be asking yourself, okay, how am I doing here? I give you an assessment so that you can figure out what needs work and what you can do to make, to practice basic self-care better. So I love these months because it's really where what you learn in the build a foundation phase of the journey, you put it into practice. And this is where you're really going to take what you learn and it's going to become new habits, new neural networks in your brain, new ways of approaching life. Because when we put what we learn into practice, that's really where it starts to change our lives. So that's what I love about the fulfill your needs phase. And I love that with basic self-care, people really start to realize, oh, wow, this is really where the self-love and the self-care really comes into play. Then the last month of the fulfill your needs phase is boring self-care. And I love this one. Despite the title, it's actually way more exciting than it is boring because it actually gets people to think about a type of self-care that a lot of us don't see represented on social media. And that is by doing tasks you're avoiding. I'll talk more about the scientific background as to why doing stuff we're avoiding is actually so important for our well-being. But the Cliff Notes version is that it frees up mental space, frees up energy, and helps you to feel more at ease. So boring self-care was a really exciting month last year when I did this with my clients because people realized that there were things that had been just sitting and nagging at the back of their mind that they hadn't done in years. And then when they did it, they were like, wow, I just freed up so much energy and space and I feel lighter and I feel like I can move to the next step of my life. So get excited because boring self-care, despite the title, is one of the most exciting months, I think, in the journey. Lastly, we have phase 3, honor your desires. This is super fun. So once you figure out how to fulfill your needs with basic and boring self-care, we move into what's called brilliant self-care. And this is where you're going to nurture your creativity and your joy. This is fantastic if you're somebody who is always making sure everyone else is taken care of and you never have any time for fun or joy. This month is all about that. And it's really great because beyond just putting an activity in your calendar, you really get to look at why you struggle to allow yourself to feel joy in the first place. And it can be a very deep and insightful month. And then the last month of the journey is bougie self care. This is what a lot of people know self care to be, is like that treat yourself thing. It's going to have a different approach and it's going to be a lot less superficial than you think. A lot of us don't realize how much we struggle to give ourselves something nice that's actually what we want, right? Because a lot of times we're on social or we're online or we're exposed to advertising. We think we really want this or that, but then we buy it and we don't really feel fulfilled because it wasn't what you actually wanted. It wasn't what you actually desired. So, as with every single class, I'm going to be helping you get to know you so that you know what I really want is this experience. I've always wanted to go to this museum, or I've always wanted to go to the theater, or whatever it is. You're going to get to know yourself so that when you actually practice bougie self-care, it is nourishing to you. It does fulfill you. It does feel like honoring your desires. So it's all about the way that we approach it in these classes. It's not about, checking off a checklist. So those are the 3 phases. I just wanted to lay that out for you in case you weren't familiar. This is the journey that you'll be on. And by the end of it, you will have taken care of, nourished, fulfilled, and honored all these different parts of you. And I'm so excited because also what you learn in the build the foundation phase is going to help you when you feel resistance and you feel obstacles and you experience barriers. So I'm going to help you through that. All right, so let's chat about the importance of the 3 phases. So why are there 3 phases? All of these phases play an important part in helping you fulfill the main intention of No Longer Last, remember, which is to help you to love and care for yourself without guilt or shame so that you can live your healthiest and most authentic life. So the classes in each phase are designed to help you slowly and sustainably love and care for yourself, and I've refined these classes and my coaching method over 16 months. So I just want you to know that the method I use to teach and the structure and the framework is tried and true. It does work, and it's going to help you to get the results that you're looking for, and it's going to help you to create the changes that you're looking for. So I'm just really excited for you to. This is the first time that I've ever really mapped No Longer Last out with this much structure, and I think it's going to make way for you to have a more enjoyable healing journey. All right, so that was the end of lesson 2. Lesson 3 is going to be about the 4 components of the healing journey. Again, this is broken up into 4 parts. This is the meat of the class. So go to the bathroom, refill your water, get a snack, and we're going to go into lesson 3. See you soon.
Thank you so much for watching my class. If you want to watch the whole thing, don't forget, visit the link in my description to sign up. It's available for free for the whole month of December. I usually charge $97 for this class, but it's free for now as a gift to you for the holidays. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Take good care. Bye.